Alright, so let's encounter a new problem. So I'm always presenting new problems here that you will encounter eventually. So here's another problem. By the way, yeah, ito yung cube sa sunlight. So again, basic concept. Sticks. Here's another one. Um, here is here's an example of what I am talking about a while ago, wherein the VP of the the sun is off screen. Teka, wait lang. Tablet problems. Alright, so as you can see here, it's off screen, right? But you can see here the lines are converging eventually to a point down there. But the concept still is the same. Sticks, sticks, sticks. Um, okay, so here's another problem. Here's an object that's floating on on the ground, above the ground. So here is the stick. Uh, Not the stick, rather it's the cube. Okay, now think here, you need to bring it down to the ground. Okay, so now there's no definite place on where you will place it on the ground. No, it depends on your setup. Kumbaga, I want this cube to be floating two times its height or less than its height. So kayo nang bahala kung gaano kataas yung iaangat niya from the ground plane. Now let's say I can actually bring it down all the way down here. Pwede yun. It depends. Now for me, I want it to be floating just in front of our light source. So what I did was, well, naglagay lang ako ng plane dito with the same dimensions. Okay, same thing as our table exercise. Diba? You bring them down on the ground like so. Okay? So, sir, bakit we bring down? Well, because every time you're casting a shadow, you need to anchor it on the ground kasi that's where the VP of the shadow is. So, I can't cast shadows up here pa ganun kasi these lines won't lead to a horizon line. So, kailangan dito sa baba. So, in order to do that, well, you have to bring down the, what do you call this? You have to bring down the cube. Okay? So, essentially, we have a long stick down here. But, what we only need is this cutoff. So, babawasan natin yung cast shadow in a short while pag nakast na natin. So, let's move ahead and cast this shadow. So, ito yung una nating kakast. Okay? So, what we do is, again, bring it down all the way here. You can go all the way down here. Walang problema yon. And then, since now we know, okay, ito yung, here's the position of the light source. So, we can now cast the shadow or the shadow direction like so. So as you can see here, ito yung intersection na nangyayari between this one and this one. So ito na yung cast shadow no stick, yung bottom stick. Now sir, how about the end? Well, the end, ito yun. You just cast a shadow up here. So same process, nadagdagan lang ng additional step because we are also casting the shadow of the bottom plane. Okay? Ganyan siya. And then, so the same thing goes for the other side. So stick, then stick, and then cast shadows. And then sundan nyo lang ha, tingnan nyo kasi nakakalito, diba? There's a bunch of intersections. So, ito yon. Mark it down, and then plot the shadows immediately. So, matatakpan nyo na yung mga unnecessary lines. So, finally, once again, this is not, well, we're gonna need it actually, itong isa. So, ito na siya. Okay, let's move on to this one. Okay, here it is. Here, and then here, and then go all the way to the corner at the bottom, and then sundan natin. So, ito, this one goes all the way down here. Then, this bottom part, sundan natin para hindi tayo nawawala. We can go here. And then mark it down to avoid confusion on our part. Combine na natin yan. Combine, combine. And then we're missing this one. We need this kasi lumulutang siya eh. So the light here will peek through, casting a shadow here. And then let's find the intersection of the shadow right here. Okay? So ito siya. Here's the bottom part of the shadow. Then let's erase this slightly kasi ito lang yon. Okay, now, guys, we don't need this anymore. We don't need to cast a shadow of the top stick down here kasi, tingnan nyo, it's inside already. So, it's not needed anymore. So, ito siya. So, just combine this like that and then fill out the shape. Like that. Okay? And then again, as I said, yung shadow, the plane that's facing away from you, where the cast shadow starts, well, you also mark it down like that. Yan. Light and shadow na yan. Okay? Nagigets yung concept, guys? Okay, now, let's move on to... There you go. What's this? Sphere. What's this one? Cube. Floating cube. Okay, here's another one. Okay, so here's another setup. A floating... It's not really a floating cube, but it's a signage, diba? And ang problem natin dito is we have a signage here, and this thing here is, well, oh crap. This thing here is floating. Okay, so what you do here is, well, you just simply bring it down again to the ground, and I'll redraw this para mas maayos yung vanishing point kasi right now masyadong straight yung signage. Let's make it somewhat more 2 point. Gawin natin ganito. Actually, let's have a vanishing point here para sigurado tayo. Okay, that's good. Ganyan. And like this. Kasi it's important that these cubes or these shapes go to the same point in perspective. So, ganyan. Well, and then this one should be, well, going to a vanishing point somewhere off screen. So, I would think this one has to be slightly like this. Okay, like that. Okay, so here's another problem. Sir, paano gagawin to? Well, first things first, you have to think of where the sticks go. Itong stick na to, you have to think where it goes underneath the plane or the box. So, kunwari ito, di ba? Ganito siya, right? So, you have to imagine, okay, where does it go? Sa ilalim. So, dito siya. It's right here in the middle. So, you draw that. You indicate that position of the, they call this the post. Ganyan siya. So, you draw everything inside out para alam nyo yung position nitong cube or this post. Okay? Now, what we do next is we start, well, casting the shadow of this one. Now, what you do first is you bring down this shape. Now, we know it's in the middle, okay? So, bababa lang natin siya following the same idea. So, bababa natin dito, bababa natin dito. And the distance here, tingnan yung distance. It's like this. So, gayahin lang natin distance. Like that. Oops, sobra. So, these are just estimates, okay? We're just bringing it down here. Like that. Okay? Now, when you're doing this shape, it's much better if you start here at the ground. Then saka nyo iangat. Kumbaga, you plan out the shape at the bottom and you bring it up. Para mas madali. Kasi this one, as I'm bringing it down, I'm just estimating it. Kumbaga, let's say may object kayo design, right? Ganito, signage. And nakalimutan nyo mag-start from the ground up. Well, you can bring it down on the ground by just estimating it. Tatansyahin nyo na lang. By looking at the distance between this one and try to match it here. Yun lang muna. Now, since we have managed now to bring it down, it's up to us now to create the sticks. Stick number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now we'll start here on this side, and now I'm gonna plot the shadows. So shadow number 1, shadow number 2. Okay, and then you know what? Let's just focus first on number 1 or the first stick para hindi nakakalito. So now now this time when I had this setup, nag-decide lang ako na I want this to be the position of my sun. So how did I arrive from that? Well, nagplot lang ako ng line na ganyan. I want this angle. So eventually it led me down here. Pag ganyan siya. Okay, so once again, BP sun. So what we do, go up like so, go up like this. Now what's happening here is ito. Yan yung cast shadow no stick na isa. And then next up, we have this stick. And then we have this one right here. And then what we do is add shadows at the bottom to find the intersection. Now, ito nakakalito na. So, mark it down. Here's the point. Let's go down all the way here. So, ito na yung shadow ko. Okay? Correct. Okay? So, pag sinundan ko yung pabalik, okay, tama. Now, where is the bottom shadow? So, sir, ito siya. Bottom, and then like this. Then, connect mo na para hindi ka na malilito. Okay? Next up, we now have 2 sticks. Diba? Very easy. Madali lang to. Just take your time slowly and then make sure that each element is colored properly. So, wait lang. Charge ko lang yung ano ko. What? Oh, mali. Mali. Oh my god. It's the wrong one. Shoot. Alright. So yeah. As I was saying, so light here at the bottom, and then you mark it down. Oh, mali. It's the wrong stick. Dapat dito. Then mark it down immediately. Hindi na kayo mawala. And then mark the upper portion, which is slightly higher. Mark it down. Okay. Now let's go back to the shadows and go all the way here. Now let's follow the line. So ito, all the way here. Here to here. Yan na siya. Okay. And then where's the end? Well, ito, bottom part goes all the way down here. So ito siya. That's our stick for the front stick. Now let's move on to this one right here. Mark it down sa taas. Mark it down. So many lines, right? Ganito. Then place it here. Now, here's the confusing part. So, sundan natin. Line here until we reach this point right here. Yan siya. Okay. And this point, let's click on this. And then here. Yan siya. So, ito siya. Yan na. So, we now have 4 sticks. Now, we simply combine everything to have the shadow for the floating signage. Oops. Ayan. So yeah, that's for the floating signage. Now, sir, paano isa? Paano to? Well, it's just simply a stick. Stick lang yan. So, it's just you guys simply reject. Ako tatansyahin ko na lang. Isang buo lang naman yan eh. But for your plates, guys, you have to plot the whole thing. Kumbaga, it's a vertical cube. So, right here. So, ito yung important part, right? I need to know where it starts. Yan, yung light beam na yan. Kailangan yan. It's gonna be somewhere around here. So, if I continue following that direction, ito yun. Ayan. So, that's how you cast a shadow for a signage. It's very complicated, but it looks right. It gets the job done. Okay? Question so far? Wala. Okay, so, sir, bakit ba ganito, sir? Bakit puro cast shadows and all that? Well, it's because, let's say, let me show you an example right here. So let's say, diba? Here's the light source, then here's the cube. Okay? So now, diba? I said a while ago, it's not gonna be pitch black itong shadow na to. It can't be like this because there's a background surrounding the room and light bounces. So always remember that. So can be pitch black. Now here, as I said a while ago, it depends on the angle. Either this plane here, either this plane here could be the lightest part, or it could be this one. It depends on the angle. If the light source is going down here, nandito siya, so this one's gonna be the lightest one. But since it slightly favors the top portion, nasa taas yung light source, so it's gonna be slightly lighter on this area. Konti lang. Okay? So, now for you guys to actually see the what do you call this? The values. I'll make it darker. Okay? And then actually let's get this as well. Ayan. So you see here, diba? I'm still not adding any fancy rendering. Okay, these are just flat tones that I'm adding. But you can start to see that it's starting to look real. And then actually let's copy this. Ito. So you guys can see the context of the light source. Ayan. So here it is, like so. Then let's give the ground slightly more light. Okay, so now um, let's clean this. Okay, let's clean this up. Like so. And then let's also clean this up here. Hmm, okay, perspective is wrong. Yan. Then this one has to go like this. Ayan. And then I don't like this area here. Ayan, pag ganyan. Okay, so now we have a bunch of stuff here. We have the lightest part. Then this one, you could consider this as half tone. It's neither the lightest part it's neither in shadow. And then you have number 3, which is the shadow area, which starts here on where the cast shadow also begins. Okay, now once you have this basic setup, you can start to get a bit more fancy if you want. So from this, you could now start to consider edges. So maybe it's gonna get softer as you're leaving the light source. Diba? Maybe it's not really pitch black. It's gonna be light here, and then on this corner, closer to the object, it's gonna be slightly darker. So if we zoom out, hindi masyadong pansin yung difference in value. But if we zoom in, papansin nyo, there's a slight difference in value. Ganyan siya. Diba? I can choose to make it softer. In the background, maybe diliman pa natin ng konti. So you can guys see yung illumination ng light. Alisin muna natin to. Ayan. Okay? So edges, and then from here, from the edges, the shadow, we can make this part slightly darker because this one's gonna have a bit of bounce light. But once again, it's just a small increment in value change. Ganyan, may bounce light because this area here, ito, tatalabog yung light dyan. This one, not so much, hindi na masyado. So, dito medyo dark. Ganyan. Then maybe here, there's gonna be also a slight change in value. Very, very subtle lang. Nothing too dramatic. Ganyan lang. Konting-konti lang. Okay? Then maybe, yung corner mismo, maybe there's a slight turn dito sa corner. Maybe dyan tatama yung highlight. So, from here to here. Ganyan, medyo biglang may pop ng light na talagang maliwanag. Ayan. Okay? And then, maybe let's extend these parts. Oops, nako. This part here is gonna be darker than the rest. Then this part here, medyo maliwanag yung plane na to sa baba. Kasi again, it's facing the ground. Although, the value here of the ground, para siyang gray surface. So, it won't be too, it won't be as dark as the background. Kumbaga ito parang yung light is hitting the object. Or, kumbaga, here's the light source. Okay, so tatama yung ilaw dyan sa baba. Okay, so yan, that's the idea. So from this one, diba? You can go here easily. Kasi na-plot mo na yung shadows. You can make it much more realistic based from these simple plotting of lines indicating the value patches. Okay, shadow. Ito yung cast shadow. Ito yung shape niya. Diba? You can go with this one easily. Okay, we'll take a short break again. I would like you to do the floating cube and the signage. Well, ito lang, wag pala muna. Yung ano muna, floating cube na lang muna. Okay, I'll be back. I have a meeting and then afterwards I will discuss the plate. Okay, and I will dismiss you afterwards. Okay, any questions, guys? None?
Asking. What was the uh next one was the floating cube and the
No, just the floating cube. That's the only thing I need. Floating cube.
okay.
Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, bye bye.